It's the evening show here with Sue Marchant in for Thordis. Thordis is having some daylight hours, so she'll be able to have, perhaps a bit of cheats and biscuits and maybe some wine of an evening. But she's pretty busy during the week. So I'm here in the evening. What have you got to look forward to? Well, it's all about you and me tonight, okay? Plus, this is your life story, Stuart Green. He knows about it. I've recorded with him, so that's okay. May have heard the name Stuart Green quite often on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. And as this is your life part of the show, I thought I would go and meet him to find out a little bit more about his life, because invariably if I've been at a festival or somewhere, then he's not camped that far away from me with his family. So here he is. Stuart, just explain how you see yourself. Who are you and what are you?
Well, that's a question and a half to start off with, isn't it? I can give you people who would answer that for you, but it probably wouldn't be very beneficial. But no, I'm just a local guy. I've been living in Cambridge since 1987. And over that time, I just seem to find myself with fingers in lots of different pies, and for no particular reason rather than I can't sit still. And things evolve and things keep happening, and somehow I keep ending up on Radio Cambridgeshire talking about them, which is what we're doing now, isn't it?
And what brought you to Cambridgeshire?
Well, I was at university in Sheffield, teacher training, and I wanted to stay up there, if I'm honest. I wanted to stay in the north, and a job came up in Peterborough. Now, I was 22, naive, and didn't really know where Peterborough was, and I looked on a map, and it was level with Birmingham, and I thought, well, that's not too far south. It's just about qualifies as the Midlands. So I thought, well, I'll apply for the interview experience, and I did, and I got the job, and I've been in Cambridgeshire ever since. So, yeah, you kind of settle and put roots down, and, I love it around here.
And what was that first job? What?
So the first job, I was at Stanground College in Peterborough as the PE teacher, the new young, fresh PE teacher in 1987. And I was there for 3 years. And in 1990, still a PE teacher, I moved over to Impington Village College. And I have to say, 30 years later, I'm still there, although not the PE teacher anymore. So.
What was it about sport that kind of rung your bells?
Well, I'm from the northwest, so how much do you want to talk about there? Always been a sports fan, and coming from Merseyside or Lancashire, as I like to think of it, as an Everton fan and a Southport fan, and a cricketer and a rugby player and everything else. It was just something I always did, and my own kids are now sort of the age thinking about what they're going to do next. But I remember when I was 14, picking up a prospectus for Loughborough about sports science, and it just caught me, and I didn't realise it was an industry. So yeah, I looked at all the whole picture, I suppose. I didn't end up at Loughborough. I ended up at Sheffield, which I think was better actually, and just followed it through and became, used my sport, if you like, to become a teacher. And many people say I talk so much, that's probably the best place for me.
So I better ask you then, you said you're an Everton fan. Is there any other sport or other people that you support?
Well, Southport's my team, really. I mean, Everton, the ones people have heard of, if you like. I was born in Southport and always was a fan. I think really it started because I was the place I was allowed to go because it was safer when I was young, and followed it through. And then when I moved down here, there were many years where it was just Sunday newspaper finding the results out, until I guess the creation of social media made it more accessible, and I got right back into it, and I go to lots of the away games, some of which are around here, but they're currently in the Conference North, although you'd be surprised where the North starts in that conference. So I get to lots of their away games, and one of the things I ended up off the back of it was one of my sort of claims to fame, and anyone who knows me is now going to groan when I tell this story, but in 2015 BBC Match of the Day Songs of Praise ran a competition for a football fans choir, and if your team reached round 3 that year of the FA Cup, you could apply, and by some miracle Southport managed to get round 3. We played Derby County away and lost in a 93rd minute penalty, and everyone was distraught. But I managed to use that story to write my application for this choir. To cut a long story short, I ended up at the FA Cup final in 2015, singing with Alfie Boat and 90,000 people abide with me, wearing my Southport shirt. So yeah, and became a real buzz off the back of that, and I carry on my Southport allegiance. Although people groan when I walk into the ground now because they think I'm going to start singing to them, but There you go. So yeah, Southport's my team. Not many people have heard of it around here.
Okay, well, let's hear some more from Stuart. So back to This Is You, Stuart Green. Stuart Green, teacher. As a parent, how do you separate those two when you're reacting with your own family?
Much more difficult during lockdown, shall we say. It's interesting, my kids are, one's 17, nearly 18, he's at Bishop Laney College in Ely. And my daughter is 15, she's at Wychford Village College, both undertaking various aspects of their education, I suppose. And it's quite easy to separate on the grounds that having dad as a teacher at home is something they don't want to recognise very often. One will let me help them more than the other, shall we say. I find it quite frustrating though sometimes when I see what they're doing and want to get involved and want to do more things, and they kind of want to do it on their own with their own teachers, if you like. So it does become difficult to separate that, I guess. But teenagers are teenagers at the end of the day, and I've worked with teenagers for 33 years and I kind of know how they tick, although they wouldn't admit that.
What do you love about your life at the moment?
Oh, that's a great question, isn't it? I think I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to be able to have a bit of freedom. One thing about teaching, I am a teacher, but I've been part-time for some years now, since the kids were born really, which has enabled me to do other things. And for a few years I ran a furniture business actually, selling through antique centres. And that kind of came to an end. And then I picked up singing, which has led to another sideline, if you like. And one of the things I do at least twice a week, or certainly before the lockdown, is to sing in care homes. And it's absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. The music is so important and so beneficial, particularly in dementia. And we get a real buzz off each other, I think. I started out to see if I could do it, but it very quickly became a really emotional thing to do, and recognise how much they really appreciate the attention. So yeah, so I'm very lucky in that respect. And I have good mates, and the good mates and I have formed a band too, which is going really well.
So when you do your singing in a care home, how do you accompany yourself?
Well, I'm a singer, not a player. And for many years I thought, well, I can't really do anything then, can I? Until I discovered tracks. And I use backing tracks to sing to. And it allows me to do it. Some people, musicians question that, and I understand why. But my answer is, well, if I didn't do that, I couldn't do anything, and therefore I'd miss out. So yeah, that's what I do. And it seems to work.
I'll Have a Shanty is a band that came on the folk show, oh gosh, last year. Or was it the beginning of this year?
It was January.
It was January. Where is the year gone?
Seems a long time ago, doesn't it?
And that seems to be gathering momentum. I mean, you had a lot of festivals booked, and but I see you all the time, on social media doing stuff. So how have you managed to keep all that going?
Well, I'll Have a Shanty started out as a bit of fun in someone's garden, to be honest, and we just started singing shanties for a laugh, and we got a gig, and we got another gig, and really no small thanks to you, actually, Sue. That appearance in the folk show changed things for us. We got some really big bookings off the back of that, no more than the Strawberry Fair and the Portland Ballroom. But of course everything's been pulled away, and just when we were getting our momentum, it kind of put a stop to everything. But as soon as we were allowed in the lockdown to meet again and practice, we started rehearsing again, and we filmed some pieces in people's gardens, socially distanced. So in a way we've built up a kind of catalogue of stuff we can use. And one of the things we've been doing this week, we were talking about earlier, we're actually on a world tour at the moment, and you'd be amazed how many around the world there are virtual open mics going on. And we did Cambridge Folk Club last week, and off the back of that, one of the guys who was in from Boston asked us to come and do his in Boston. Last night we were in Hollywood, Sunday we're in Jerusalem, next week we're in New Jersey. And we've also got a clip on the Edinburgh Festival Fringe Pick and Mix site at the moment. So yeah, lots of bits and pieces we've managed to piece together. And I think momentum's important, and we say we got to a certain tier, and we didn't want to see it stripped away, and in some way we're keeping it going until we can really do it properly again. That's kind of where everyone is, I guess, in the music world.
I had no idea there were so many virtual open mics across the world. Performing at these, how does it happen? Right,
well, in most people's cases, they sit with a guitar in their room and play away, but obviously we can't do that. We have to be outside, we have to be distanced. most of them that we've done, the American ones and the Jerusalem ones, they are ungodly times as far as we're concerned. And so we've essentially recorded pieces, and then I've been on live to introduce them and talk about the band and talk about what we're up to, and then share the screen and share the videos with them. And it's not perfect, but it seems to work, you know. Ask some interesting questions in America about what it is we're doing, but all good fun and really appreciative as well. So,
do they actually get what a sea shanty is over there?
Oh, they should do. I mean, you know, the sea shanties are not, you know, exclusively British, although many of them stem from the times when Britain ruled the waves, I guess. But yeah, I think so. I mean, again, it's a funny thing, sea shanties, isn't it? Because here we are in a landlocked county singing sea shanties, and I guess some of the guys in the States, you know, they're nowhere near the sea and they don't quite understand it, but other parts do. But as I keep saying, who makes the rules? Why can't we sing about the sea because we don't live there?
Her life story tomorrow night. For the meantime, I hope you're enjoying hearing about Stuart Green's life, and here is the final part of the story so far. So Stuart Green, we've got parent, teacher, singer, sports person, sports fan, music fan. What else have we got from you?
Something I've always felt, you know, ask me how I feel about life and I say I feel lucky. There is so much going on that people make happen. I mean, you know, communities are about people, aren't they, and what they do for each other. And one thing I've always felt, you know, I've taken things from others, is giving back. And I've been involved in various community things, I guess, since we've lived in this area. Sutton Feast was something I was very involved with for quite some time. I'm still involved with them. I still raise the sponsorship. I still do their social media and marketing. I still compare the picnic in the park. Otherwise, they'll never get the microphone off me. So, and I'll have a shanty we're due to play there this year as well. But hey ho, next year. And something else I was involved with, which was overseen by Sutton Feast, was the Sutton Beast 10K. A very good friend of mine, Martin Pickering, persuaded me to get on board with him and take that on. And we built that event from 40, 50 people to a huge event on the running calendar, and we're very proud of that, although we handed it on a couple of years ago. And also I work as a volunteer with Chatteris Museum, which is another, local history is a real particular interest. And again, with them, I'd largely do their social media and marketing for them, and the website as well. I get down there when I can. But of course that's been closed for several weeks now, but it is open. It's open again. It has a VJ Day exhibition, and it's a case of giving back. You know, it doesn't take a lot of time. It does take a little bit of time, but I really enjoy doing that. And I find it, you know, it's like Christmas, isn't it? Do you find it better getting presents or giving presents? And I'm certainly one. I think it falls into the latter, and that kind of falls in with the community aspects of things I do. Giving back is really important, I think.
I'm going to put you in the cosmic camper.
Oh, wow.
Not literally, but in our minds, because we've got to be socially distanced, and
Right.
and that can take you forwards and backwards in time. And I'm just wondering, is there a place in history or a part of history that you would like to go back to?
This is a strange one to say, really, because I teach quite a bit of history at school, and one of my most fascinating areas of time is the period of the Industrial Revolution, and being a northerner as well, you know, and I love the whole idea of invention and you know, the steam inventions, and places like Beamish and the Black Country Museum I absolutely spend hours of fascinated at, and I'd love to sort of watch that evolve, but at the same time the Victorian period wasn't really a healthy one. So I'd like to go back for a few days. I don't think I particularly want to go back and not live past 40 and live in the great stink and everything else, but yeah, that's a fascinating period for me. I'd say like World War II was fascinating too, but I definitely don't want to go back there.
What about a favourite place in Cambridgeshire?
Do you know, we're not far from it. You know, we're sitting here in a bench at Ely, outside the Maltings, looking over the river, and Ely's the most fascinating place. And I guess if you just visit it and you see the cathedral and you see the river and you see the shops and the market square and you go home again, when you live in this area, it's like anywhere, isn't it? You find out more and more and you study more and more. It's steeped in history, is Ely, for lots of different reasons as well. It's not just about the cathedral and Cromwell. And so we've done quite a lot of research into the waterways history and things, the song that Kevin in the band came up with. And again, the waterways built this city in many ways, you know, moving in the materials and the things for people to live off, and of course the eels and the fish that people lived off. And it's a fascinating culture. So yeah, put it on the spot, I'd say Ely, but there's lots of beautiful bits of Cambridgeshire. I miss the mountains. I climbed the Gogmagogs once. Yeah.
And finally, what do you think is the unique selling point about Cambridgeshire?
My goodness me. Well, this USP, I guess, I mean, the University of Cambridge, it's not unique, but it kind of is in respect of its history and things. But I think the fact is, you look at Cambridge, it's hugely rural with 3 cities and quite a small space. And I think it's the contrast as well. There's some beautiful rural retreats, the rivers, the waterways, the cathedral, the university. I think it's just a variety. You know, I say the one thing it really misses is the mountains, and when I first came, that's why I wasn't going to stay. But you fall in love with it, and apart from putting roots down, it's a lovely place to live. You know, everyone I know is friendly. You know, you're not, certainly where I live, it's not in the city amongst the smog and the sirens. So yeah, I think Cambridge is a lovely place to live.
What about cooking? Do you do cooking?
Well, I kind of have to feed everyone in our house. And my wife, although she works very long hours at home at the moment, largely works very long hours outside the house before the lockdown. So I end up doing most of the cooking at home. So I wouldn't call myself a cook.
Signature dish?
It depends what it says on the packet.
What about the next chapter of your life? What are you hoping for?
I think one thing I've learned is not really to plan too far ahead. Things happen. If you'd have asked me, if we'd have sat here 3 years ago and said, what are you going to be doing in 3 years? I wouldn't have said singing in the shanty band and care homes and doing the things that I'm doing. So who knows what's around the corner? I'm not far, I guess, from retirement from teaching when I choose that moment. But who knows? I mean, the singing's going well. Maybe that'll evolve. Maybe last night's open mic in Hollywood might see us on the strip. Who knows what happened there?
Stuart, thank you.
My pleasure.
Oh, such a lovely chap, and community champion as well, and just loves doing stuff. And I guess, perhaps he was your teacher, or still is your teacher, who knows. But Stuart Green there.
And a bit more of a mix. We've got Sue on the show as well. Let's cater for Sue as well, because the next upload is a treat for you, I think, Sue.
It is, because I can see that name Stuart Green, who is a person that I picked, as a life story, because he's somebody that I see locally, and often I think, well, what is it that you do? What are all these other things? And he's multi-talented, isn't he?
He's so multi-talented, and do you know what? He's such a great personality as well, Sue. Like hearing that earlier and just talking to him off air when because we played him on the show a couple of times, and he's such a great personality. Like, he even come up with a sea shanty name for me as well.
Oh, did he?
So, yeah, I can't remember what it is now. I have to ask him. So hopefully he texts me. Stuart, text me my sea shanty name, please, because I completely forgot. But he come up with one last time we played him on the show. So he needs to come up with one for you now, Sue, as well.
Well, Lee, who's listening, came up and said Massachusetts is the place, which is, the sea shanty land in the States. I had no idea about that. Did you?
Oh, no, I didn't know that as well. Oh,
yeah.
There you go. We're learning, Sue, this hour, aren't we? We really are.
Mind of information. Let's play one of these, and then you can introduce our next upload. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. I want to go jerky so how. There you go.
Right, so Sue, we have got something to lift spirits and end upload on a high. It comes from Cambridgeshire Shanty Band, I'll Have a Shanty, and the main man himself, Stuart Green, who you heard in Life Stories earlier in the show, and it's going to be throughout the week as well, isn't it? Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, well,
so
no,
we've got more to come from Stuart.
Well, no, we're having a different one each night, actually, because
Oh, okay.
It would get too complicated.
Yeah, okay. And they're Captain Kev. So they've each got like sea shanty names. Captain Kev composed this piece, which celebrates Fenland history and is really, really catchy as well. So it is I'll Have a Shanty with the Fishermen of Ely.
Oh, fishermen of Ely, come sing me your song. Your catch has been high, but your day has been long. Your whole adorned the table of kings, bishops, popes, and beautiful queens. The glaciers melted, the seas they did rise, leaving Ely, Chartres and March to the skies. They cast their nets and lay their pots. Here's pike and bream while supping their tots. Oh, fisherman of Ely, come sing me your song. Your catch has been high, but your day has been long. Your hole will adorn the table of kings, bishops, popes, and beautiful queens.
Anglo-Saxons did rule the land. We started to build with picks and hands. A monastery, abbey, a cathedral was built on a land of peat and pure fen silt.
Oh, fisherman of Ely, come sing me your song. Your catch has been high, but your day has been long. Your hole will adorn the table of kings, bishops, popes, and beautiful queens.
East Anglia and Mercia bound, the Danish Vikings invaded the land. They came from the north with ruthless intent. They plundered with fire and an anger to vent.
Oh, fisherman of Ely, come sing me your song. Your catch has been high, but your day has been long. Your hole will adorn the table of kings, bishops, popes, and beautiful queens. Oh, fisherman of Ely, come sing me your song. Your catch has been high, but your day has been long. Your hole will adorn the table of kings, bishops, popes, and beautiful queens. Your hole will adorn the table of kings, bishops, popes, and beautiful queens.
Ah, Lavashanti. I love that name as well. It's such fun, isn't it, Juggy? Oh dear.
It's so good. It's like such a good spirited name, isn't it? It's like, yeah. And he still hasn't texted me my shanty name, so I'm hoping we get that.
You can be Captain Juggy.
There you go. Yeah, let's do it, Captain. No, I think
Juggy.
you should be the captain, Sue. I think you should be the captain.
I want to be
I'll
first
be the
mate.
co-captain today. Yeah.
I want to be first mate. That's what I want to be. Anyway, you
There
enjoy
you go.
you enjoy receiving all the upload things. Just remind people how they can do that.
All they have to do is go to bbc.co.uk/upload and find BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.